analyst Chris Broussard. How you doing, Chris?
Hi, I'm great.
Do you agree Giannis should be the favorite right now?
I do agree. I'm a voter. Been voting for about 20 years, and this is probably the hardest decision, or certainly one of them that I've had to make with the MVP award. I tend to have 4 criteria: individual numbers, your team success, so wins, supporting cast, what kind of help you have, and then the historical significance. Like, for instance, when Nash, he was in the running for 3 straight, right? He won 2 straight. And I remember his agent called me trying to get me to vote for him for third straight. I said, you know what? He's right there, but I can't put him there with Larry Bird and Magic. It was only a couple that have won 3 straight. I don't know if Wilt or Bill Russell was the other one, but I was like, I can't, the historical significance, and it was close enough where I didn't have to vote for him. So I take that into consideration. When I look at individual numbers, now obviously we got Harden's offensive numbers, but we got Giannis's too. Giannis, 27 points, 12.5 rebounds, almost 13, 6 assists. The only other player ever to do that was Oscar Robertson
61,
once.
62.
The time he averaged a triple-double. That's it. So his numbers, while he's not averaging 36 points like Harden, his numbers are arguably just as significant historically. And then when I take into account the defense, Giannis is second in the league in defensive rating, first in the league in defensive win shares. Harden 68th in defensive rating, which I actually was surprised it was that high.
I thought he'd be higher than that.
Really?
I think he's made an effort.
Yeah, he's gotten better, but he's still not much of a defender. And then 145th in win shares. So when I factor in the defense, I give Giannis the individual numbers. Then the team success, obviously, you got to go with Milwaukee, best record in the league, only team in the league that's top 5 in offense and defensive rating, best road record in the league, best point differential. I mean, everything. And they had a huge jump. They went from the 16th best record last year with essentially the same players to the first best record in the league. So I got Giannis on that one. Supporting cast, obviously you can argue Chris Paul missed 20 games, Clint Capella missed 15, Eric Gordon missed 10.
In and out the lineup still.
But those 3, I mean, Giannis has Chris Middleton, who was an all-star, but he's not a perennial all-star. I don't think of him as, he's not a star. So I think that's kind of a wash, because CP, when he's there, he's CP. Clint Capella was playing at an all-star level. And then historical significance, Harden, I'll give him that one because of the 650 games of 57 or more. What he's done, those moments have been incredible. But here's the final straw for me, at least right now. I reserve my right to change my mind, but right now I'm going with Giannis.
Okay.
Houston, people are giving Harden points for, he saved the Rockets. That's going to be your argument, I know. They were falling apart. They were 4-7, then 11-14, then 13-14 when he took off with the 30-point streak. Is it Giannis? Should we punish Giannis because he never let his team fall into a hole? It's the MVP for the entire regular season. Giannis and the Bucks have been great the entire 5-6 months. Houston was bad for 2 months. Harden was playing all those games. Harden was there. Chris Paul was there. Clint Capella was there.
Chris Paul got hurt before the All-Star game.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But 13-14 is way before the All-Star game. Chris Paul was there when they were struggling for the first few months of the season. Why were they struggling for 2 months? I'm not going to reward him because you have carried your team for 3 of the 5 months when Giannis has carried his for 5 of the 5 months.
Well, you'd make I like that argument. No, you didn't. No. Because as soon as Harden dropped that 61 on San Antonio, I started tweeting. And we started texting back and forth. I got James Harden. Because let's just go back to historic streaks, Wilt notwithstanding. When Michael Jordan averaged 37 in the season, he averaged 5.2 rebounds, 4.6 assists. 4 assists better. That's what Harden is. He's 2 rebounds clear. Same with Kobe, 35, 5, and 4. He's clear. what he's doing. Now, if Middleton had missed 20 games and Brogdon had missed 17 games and the next best, Brook Lopez had missed another 12 games, okay, and then Giannis got these same numbers, and they still number one.
Brogdon's going to miss that many games by the end of the year.
Yeah. No, I need that early. Because Chris Paul here now. Chris Paul ain't hurt now. Capella's not hurt now. I need him to miss those things early. Early in the year. You know what I'm talking about? When you try to build that thing, get that thing together, you ain't going to get no coach. Budenholzer probably going to be coach of the year, but we ain't going to talk about that just yet.
I don't know about that, but go ahead.
He's going to be in the running.
He's going to be close, Skip. Because you saw what they were last year. Now they got the best rookie. Right. James Harden. And it's not like he's scoring these points and they winning by 25. They winning by 1. They winning by 3. The dude got 6 games of 57 or more points. Durant got no such games. Steph got no such games. Shaq got 1. Bird got 1. Do you realize what we're actually watching when he does this? He has to do this. If James Harden doesn't score these 30 points a night, they losing. You know that, Chris. I'm watching the game. I'm like, and how he does, I still don't know how. I'm looking up, I'm like, okay, James, he got it going. And you look up and he got 38. He got 45. I'm like, how? How is he doing this? Skip, what he's doing, and I get it, Giannis, the 27, 12, and 6 is unbelievable. There's no question about that. And that's not to diminish what he's doing. But when you talk about, and it's 8, Michael Jordan had the biggest discrepancy as far as points to the next closest at 8.1. Right now, James Harden is 8.2 over Paul George. Skip, for me, and I wasn't the biggest James Harden fan, but Beard in his bag right now. It's hard for me to believe that someone else, after this season, that someone else could be the MVP from what I've seen.
I agree with Miami Vice.
Wow. Okay.
I do like that. I like that Vice look.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Don't get any ideas.
I'm sorry, Mr. Broussard, but I do have to agree with Shannon on this. And maybe I got too caught up in what I watched last Friday night, but I watched every dribble of my Spurs at James Harden, and I just never seen anything like it. You can say it's just one game, but he's been doing this the whole year.
Yes.
He's operating on an offensive level I've just never seen before this side of Wilt Chamberlain or Michael Jordan, but Michael would get him so differently. Michael got him so easily. He was just unstoppable anywhere he wanted to go. He went wherever he wanted to go in the lane, on the baseline. He just got him. And this guy is doing it from places we've never seen before, where these are the Spurs. They play really good defense this year. And Derek White has evolved quickly into one of the best perimeter defenders in this league. And he couldn't stay with him because they picked him off every time. Capella goes out high, and he just picks off Derek White. And every time, James has got that slither to him, that sort of snaky, just he's so elastic, and he just slides off picks. And all of a sudden, DeMar DeRozan's on Harden. And I'm saying, that's it. I got no shot on this one. And he's got his shot because he's going to stick it from 3 because he's just getting deadly from 3. It's such a sweet stroke.
It's over.
And it's so effortless. And it's from distance.
Yes.
He'll be 4 or 5 feet behind the lane, and it's just a flick of the wrist, and it just swishes.
Yes.
And I say, that's too good. He's shooting 37% from 3, and that's taking the most threes in the league. So that's high. That's a high number of threes you're making. He is 88% from the free throw line, and I just admire that greatly because they're called free throws. And he makes a whole bunch of free throws, and the refs love him in ways that I've never seen refs love anybody because he gets everything, including the worst call in the history of sports, which except for the non-call in the Saints game. But on DeMar DeRozan at the end of the Spurs got him. They're up 6 at that point. He goes straight up for a jump shot.
Elbowed him.
And he didn't elbow him. He didn't even come close. And Harden just flops, and they give it to him. They give it to him. They gave him an offensive foul and wiped off the basket. And I said, you know what? That's the MVP because the refs have just bought completely into James Harden at this point. He gets every call because they think he's earned every call. And the display of getting to the basket, I've just never seen such slither to the basket, where it's just, he looks like he's in slow motion, like effortless, snaking through the lane. All of a sudden, he's up and he's free at the rim. And he doesn't dunk it, he just lays it in.
And now he got that floater.
Now he got the floater.
It's over.
Yes. And now the floater has increased almost to the free throw line, where if he just gets a step at the free throw line, he just launches it, and it swishes. He is a wizard with the basketball in his hand. So I'm sorry, I got Giannis. And if you want new versus same old, you got to go Giannis. Yeah. He's the new flavor, right? I got that.
I agree with everything you said. Like I said, my vote will be due in April, so I'm not, I'm reserving right. And if Harden wins it, I'm not going to be
You're not going to protest.
No, because it could be either or. But when I look at, Harden has the spectacular moments. Yeah. That's what he's got. Yeah. The 60-point games, the 57-point games, the streak. But when you look at the steadiness of it, I think Giannis, he doesn't have those moments. It's as simple as that. We talked about that with the Heisman Trophy. Who has those moments? He doesn't. But what about the other end of the floor, too? When LeBron won a lot of his MVPs, some of it was he was a tremendous defender, too.
James is averaging 2 steals a game. So he's bird-like and just disrupting. Yep. He's got long arms and great hands and vision and anticipation. He just getting his hands on the basketball on defense. I'm not saying he's a great on-ball defender.
No.
He's become a better defender. But steals aren't really a sign of great defense. They can be. But Iverson used to get a lot of steals.
No defense.
Yeah, no, it's not like a few years ago.
He ain't anymore.
It's not, exactly. But Giannis is arguably the best. He could be Defensive Player of the Year. They got the best defense in the league. He's the anchor. I just think we're taking it for granted. But look, it is close. But I'd give it to Giannis.
If James Harden only played 3 quarters and didn't play at all in the 4th quarter, he'd be the 2nd leading scorer in the NBA.
But it's more than just scoring. His usage rate is through the roof.
What about them assists?
That's part of the usage rate being through the roof.
Yeah, he
gets to make every play. And I'm not taking anything away from him. But I'm just saying that D'Antoni, we brought up Budenholzer. Skip, if you put some other people in this offense with D'Antoni.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I don't want to take away from Harden because I love him.
Just imagine what his assist total would be if he had Capella.
In that offense.
If he had Capella and CP3 for all them games, they missed what them old assists total would be.
They be lower because CB3 be getting his assist.
He getting them now.
By the way, we don't use Olaying on the show anymore. We call it LeBroning.
Don't do that, Skip. No, do that. You made that up.
Am I right about that?
No, don't do it, Chris. Don't do that.
Harden doesn't LeBron anymore.
No.